Chào quý vị, hôm nay mời quý vị theo dõi bản tin của Đài truyền hình Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Dinh dưỡng luôn là bài toán khó đối với người bệnh tiểu đường. Mới đây, các nhà khoa học đã nghiên cứu thành công dòng sữa dê chuyên biệt Vitaligo Diabetic giúp bổ sung dinh dưỡng, hỗ trợ kiểm soát đường huyết cho người bệnh.
Vitaligo Diabetic là dòng sữa dê tiên phong cho người bệnh tiểu đường với thành phần chính là bột sữa dê nguyên kem nhập khẩu từ Hà Lan kết hợp cùng vitamin A, B, C, D, canxi, phosphor giúp bổ sung dinh dưỡng cho người bệnh, giảm các triệu chứng mệt mỏi, thiếu chất, suy nhược thường gặp ở bệnh nhân tiểu đường. Ngoài ra, sản phẩm còn chứa hệ bột đường Isomat, Palatinose, Inositol và hương gạo mới, hương vị dịu mát.
Tặng miễn phí sức khỏe cho các bệnh nhân tiểu đường. Nhân dịp công ty Vitaligo Diabetic đang làm chương trình thiện nguyện tại các bệnh viện lớn để hỗ trợ cô chú được dùng thử sữa. Công ty hỗ trợ giảm giá sâu nhất, giảm nửa giá tiền lên đến gần 50% một hộp sữa 650g dùng trong 30 ngày. Giá chỉ từ vài trăm nghìn khi mua combo 3 tặng 2, mua 5 tặng 4. Mua một thùng giảm ngay 3 triệu tặng kèm máy đo đường huyết để cô chú kiểm soát đường huyết tại nhà khi gọi hotline 0961 486 466.
Người bệnh tiểu đường ăn kiêng 3 năm không bằng 10 ngày sử dụng sữa dê Vitaligo Diabetic. Đường huyết sẽ ổn định về mức 5 đến 6 chấm, giảm tiểu nhiều, tiểu đêm, tê bì chân tay, cơ thể cũng sẽ khỏe khoắn, ăn ngon, ngủ ngon hơn. Sau 10 ngày là thấy hiệu quả rõ rệt rồi, cơ thể sẽ khỏe khoắn, không còn đuối sức mệt mỏi và ăn uống cũng thấy ngon miệng hơn rất nhiều. Sau từ 20 cho đến 40 ngày sử dụng thì các tình trạng như là đói nhiều, sụt cân, khát nước, tê bì chân tay, tiểu nhiều, tiểu đêm, cơ thể ngứa ngáy cũng cải thiện được đến 85 cho đến 90%. Và sau 2 tháng thì đường huyết ổn định ở mức 5 đến 6 chấm, cơ thể sẽ đủ chất, ăn ngon, ngủ ngon hơn. Người bệnh tiểu đường sẽ có sức sống hơn, có năng lượng hơn, da dẻ của họ cũng sẽ hồng hào hơn và tinh thần thì phấn chấn hơn rất là nhiều, sinh hoạt làm việc bình thường, chặn đứng nguy cơ biến chứng tiểu đường. Vitaligo Diabetic là dòng sữa dê tiểu đường đầu tiên ở nước ta, đã được Phó Giáo sư Tiến sĩ Bác sĩ Nguyễn Thị Bay, Nguyên trưởng Bộ môn Y học cổ truyền Đại học Y Dược Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Bác sĩ chuyên khoa 2 Vũ Minh Đức, chuyên khoa nội tổng hợp Bệnh viện Thống nhất Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh và Phó Giáo sư Tiến sĩ Trần Đình Toán, Nguyên Viện trưởng Viện Dinh dưỡng Lâm sàng đã khuyên dùng và cam kết hiệu quả chỉ sau 10 ngày, an toàn tuyệt đối, không gây ra bất kỳ tác dụng phụ nào, sẽ dễ hấp thu đối với mọi đối tượng, kể cả những người mắc tiểu đường lâu năm, bụng dạ yếu, không hấp thụ lactose vẫn uống vô tư luôn. Uống vào là khỏe, uống vào là mê, uống vào thì tiểu đường chỉ là chuyện nhỏ thôi các bác ạ. Trong Diabetic có chứa thành phần đặc biệt đó chính là bột sữa dê được nhập khẩu trực tiếp từ Hà Lan. Đây là quốc gia có nguồn sữa dê chất lượng cao hàng đầu trên thế giới rồi, sẽ giúp bổ sung dinh dưỡng chuyên biệt dành cho người tiểu đường. Thành phần oligosaccharide sẽ giúp tăng độ nhạy của insulin, từ đó sẽ kiểm soát được đường huyết hiệu quả. Cùng với đó là bộ ba hệ đường ăn kiêng, Isomat, Palatinose và Inositol, ít calo, dễ tiêu hóa, sẽ hấp thu chậm, giúp tạo vị ngọt thanh, ngọt mát nhưng mà không làm tăng đường huyết. Lượng chất khoáng như là canxi, phosphor có trong Vitaligo Diabetic cao vượt trội hơn sữa bò, sẽ giúp mang đến hiệu quả 2 trong 1, đường huyết ổn định mà xương khớp cũng vẫn dẻo dai, linh hoạt, vận động dễ dàng. Ngoài ra, sản phẩm còn có chứa chất xơ orati hay còn gọi là inulin, có tác dụng làm chậm quá trình tiêu hóa, bao gồm cả quá trình tiêu hóa đường carbon hydrate, sẽ giúp kiểm soát cân nặng và ổn định lượng đường huyết trong máu. Vitaligo Diabetic dùng đến đâu khỏe đến đấy, đường huyết ổn định 5 đến 6 chấm, đã dùng là hiệu quả. Các bác chỉ cần để lại số điện thoại ngay dưới video này hoặc là gọi điện trực tiếp đến số điện thoại đang được ghi trên màn hình để được tư vấn tận tình các bác nhé.
Từ khi mà tôi sử dụng cái sữa Diabetic này xong á, là tôi thấy người khỏe re luôn. Tay chân thì hoạt động lên một cách nhẹ nhàng ha, rồi lên cầu thang đi một cách thánh thoát. Uống sữa này xong rồi ăn ngon ngủ ngon lắm. Nhưng mà không có cần phải là uống cả năm cả đời mới có hiệu quả đâu. Chỉ cần uống vài ngày thôi là thấy khỏe re liền hà.
Uống cái sữa này một ngày 2 ly, sáng 1 ly, chiều 1 ly. Chỉ sau một thời gian ngắn thôi, tôi đã tăng lên 3 kg rồi đó. Người có sức lực hơn, cơ thể khỏe khoắn, làm việc gì cũng thoải mái, còn có thời gian giúp đỡ gia đình nữa. Uống một ly sữa này vô là tràn đầy năng lượng, ăn ngon ngủ ngon, không còn kiệt thèm như trước nữa.
Cái sữa tiểu đường này nè là rất tốt cho cái người là thể trạng người Việt Nam mình. Rồi uống vô nó thơm ngon ơi là ngon, không cần phải kiêng thêm gì nữa. Sức khỏe của tôi bây giờ là nó cải thiện rất tốt.
Chỉ sợ là mình không biết tới cái sữa dê Diabetic này thôi. Nếu mà biết rồi nha, là mình không còn sợ tiểu đường nữa. mua combo, mua 3 lon tặng một hộp giấy. Tôi đảm bảo với anh chị luôn, uống hết cái combo sữa này á là khỏe giống tôi liền.
Tất cả bà con cô bác đang bị tiểu đường tuyếp 1, tuyếp 2, mình đang khổ sở vì căn bệnh này, đang loay hoay vì đường huyết lên xuống thất thường, đang bị các triệu chứng tiểu đường, tiểu nhiều, tiểu đêm, chân tay tê bì hành hạ. Cơ hội ổn định đường huyết ngay tại nhà, đẩy lùi biến chứng tiểu đường vô cùng đơn giản, nhanh gọn, hiệu quả, chỉ với 2 ly Diabetic mỗi ngày thôi. Đây, 2 ly này mỗi ngày nhá. Như bản thân tôi á, tiểu đường tuyếp 2 trước đây nhá, toàn 15-17 chấm, mà uống khoảng 10 ngày là thấy nó đỡ hẳn tiểu nhiều tiểu đêm ấy. Trước đêm đi tiểu 4-5 lần ấy, thì giờ chỉ còn có 1 lần thôi. Có khi là ngủ một mạch đến sáng luôn, thế mới sướng nhá. Mà tê bì ngứa ngáy chân tay cũng cải thiện rõ rệt luôn. Tôi uống đâu đó là hơn 1 tháng, người ăn ngon, ngủ ngon, da rẻ nhá, hồng hào mịn như da em bé luôn. Mình ăn uống được nên tinh thần thoải mái, phấn chấn, chứ không cáu gắt khó chịu như trước nữa. Mình uống hơn 2 tháng thì đường huyết chỉ còn loanh quanh 5-6 chấm. Thi thoảng nhậu nhẹt gặp bạn bè thì lên tí 6.8, 6.9, chỉ đã hơi lo rồi đấy. Nhưng mà không bao giờ cho phép nó vượt quá 7 chấm nhá. Ai gặp tôi cũng bảo ôi trông chả giống người bị tiểu đường thế nào. Mà bản thân Chí Trung cũng cảm thấy như thế thật đấy. Cơ thể khỏe khoắn, tràn đầy năng lượng. Mà không chỉ mình tôi uống cái này khỏe đâu nhá. Ai tiểu đường uống Diabetic này cũng tấm tắc khen. 10 ngày uống là 10 ngày khen, rồi lan truyền khắp nơi. Mọi người còn ví Diabetic là sữa tiểu đường quốc dân đấy. Nên bà con cô bác nào còn khổ về tiểu đường thì mua uống liền nhá. Mua uống Diabetic luôn đi. Chưa có tiền thì mua gói 3 được tặng thêm 2. Và còn dư giả thì mua hẳn cả thùng uống dần. Này không uống thì thôi nhá. Chứ một khi đã uống, đã dùng Diabetic này á, thì không lo tiểu nhiều tiểu đêm, không lo đường huyết lên xuống thất thường, cũng không lo bị biến chứng nữa. Chỉ cần mình thực hiện một điều vô cùng đơn giản là mỗi ngày bỏ ra 2 phút uống đều đặn 2 ly Diabetic này.
Cái loại sữa này nha, uống vô nó thơm ngon, dễ uống nha. Còn nghe mùi hương gạo mới nữa. Trời ơi, nó thơm vậy. Uống vô bụng dạ em ru đã lắm. Sau 3 tháng tôi uống được sữa này rồi á, thì trong người mình á, nó đã thay đổi rõ rệt. Đường huyết nó còn có 6 đến 7 chấm thôi. Và tôi không còn phải ăn kiêng nữa. Và đêm ngủ á, thì không còn phải đi tiểu đêm. Lúc trước là đi 3-4 lần, bây giờ hết luôn, ngủ một đêm tới sáng luôn. Trời ơi, khỏe ru luôn. Rồi ban ngày không phải ăn kiêng nè. Bây giờ họ mừng quá trời luôn.
Từ khi mà tôi sử dụng cái sữa Diabetic này xong á, là tôi thấy người khỏe re luôn. Tay chân thì hoạt động lên một cách nhẹ nhàng ha, rồi lên cầu thang đi một cách thánh thoát. Không có phải như hồi xưa nữa đâu, mà tinh thần thì lúc nào cũng phơi phới. Rồi tôi ăn ngon, ngủ ngon. Cái này rất là quan trọng nha. Không có cần phải là uống cả năm cả đời mới có hiệu quả đâu. Chỉ cần uống vài ngày thôi là thấy khỏe re liền hà.
Sản phẩm không tốt, không chính hãng, không đúng như những gì mà Hoàng Linh giới thiệu thì nhãn hàng cam kết đền bù gấp 10 lần tiền cho mọi người. Đây, giới thiệu với cả nhà mình ạ. Dòng sữa mang tên là VitaliWatt Diabetic Hà Lan, dòng sữa dê tiểu đường đầu tiên tại Việt Nam mình. Xin được nhắc lại với các bác, các cô chú, anh chị, dòng sữa dê tiểu đường đầu tiên. Mọi người cứ nghe Hoàng Linh chia sẻ nhá, cứ tin Hoàng Linh nhá. Tất cả các cô, các bác, những người lớn tuổi trong gia đình nhà Hoàng Linh thì đã dùng rồi. Và mọi người đã chia sẻ cái cảm nhận của mình là chỉ cần một ngày uống 2 ly sữa thôi. Sau 7 ngày đầu tiên thì đã thấy là ăn ngon hơn, ngủ ngon hơn. Sau 14 ngày thì các bác, các cô chú và đặc biệt là mẹ của Linh thì đã thấy là đỡ tình trạng tiểu nhiều tiểu đêm, đỡ tê bì tay chân. Sau 30 ngày, tức là 1 tháng uống sữa thì mọi người thấy là đường huyết đã giảm về mức từ 6 đến 8 chấm rồi. Đo chỉ số lúc nào cũng ổn định ở mức từ 6 đến 8 chấm. Đó chính là nhờ sữa dê tiểu đường Hà Lan này đấy ạ. Theo như Linh cũng cất công tìm hiểu thì Linh biết là trên thế giới hiện giờ thì
sữa dê Hà Lan đang là sự lựa chọn hàng đầu của người tiểu đường. Và vì sao sử dụng sữa dê lại là một phương pháp hiệu quả nhất và được nhiều người tin tưởng đến thế thì nhân đây Linh cũng chia sẻ với mọi người biết nhé. Thứ nhất, sữa dê thì nó cung cấp nguồn oligosaccharides dồi dào, cao gấp 8 lần so với sữa bò mọi người nhé. Nó sẽ giúp là kích thích sản sinh insulin, tăng độ nhạy insulin, phục hồi tuyến tụy từ gốc rễ, thúc đẩy quá trình chuyển hóa đường thành năng lượng. Từ đó thì sẽ giúp giảm đường huyết về chỉ số an toàn đến mức 5-6 chấm thôi. Thứ hai, sữa dê thì nó có hàm lượng đường thấp hơn nhiều so với các dòng sữa khác, nên là sữa dê là sữa tốt nhất dành cho người tiểu đường. Và thứ ba là hàm lượng chất khoáng có ở trong sữa dê như là canxi này, phosphor thì nó cao hơn so với các loại sữa khác, nên là nó rất tốt cho hệ cơ, xương, khớp. Và các bác các cô chú mà bị tiểu đường ấy thì còn thường là sẽ bị thêm những cái vấn đề về đau nhức xương khớp, tê bì tay chân, nhức mỏi người đúng không nào? Thì mình hãy dùng ngay sữa dê VitaliWatt Diabetic nhá. Hiệu quả 2 trong 1 với cả bệnh tiểu đường và xương khớp luôn. Uống là sẽ thấy cải thiện rõ rệt luôn đấy ạ. Người nhà của Hoàng Linh cũng thể là các bác của Linh bên nội bên ngoại bị tiểu đường tuyếp 2, có lúc đường huyết lên tới 20 chấm, có khi phải nhập viện cấp cứu. Thế mà từ khi duy trì uống sữa Diabetic 2 ly một ngày thôi, chỉ 2 ly một ngày VitaliWatt Diabetic mỗi ngày thôi thì đường huyết đã trở về ngưỡng an toàn 6 đến 8 chấm rồi. Lần gần đây nhất khi mà Linh đưa mẹ Linh đi khám sức khỏe định kỳ để mà mua bảo hiểm cho bà thì bác sĩ cũng khen là chỉ số đường huyết của bà phải nói là rất đẹp luôn, nó rất là ổn định. Và đặc biệt nhất là Linh cũng khuyên là các bác các cô chú nào mà mình uống sữa mà mình thường gặp phải cái tình trạng là đau bụng đi ngoài do là mình không dung nạp được lactose ở trong sữa thì mình cũng nên sử dụng ngay sữa dê tiểu đường VitaliWatt này nhá. Đảm bảo là sữa ngon, dễ uống, không gây đau bụng đi ngoài chút nào đâu. Bởi vì ở trong sữa dê nó có thành phần lactose rất là thấp. Thế nên là các bác, các cô chú, anh chị, những ai mà đang gặp khó khăn trong việc điều trị bệnh tiểu đường tại nhà thì hãy nghe Hoàng Linh, mình đừng ngần ngại, hãy ngay lập tức để lại số điện thoại hoặc là gọi điện tới số hotline đang ghim trên màn hình lúc này nhé. Đội ngũ chuyên viên dinh dưỡng của VitaliWatt Diabetic sẽ tư vấn hoàn toàn miễn phí cho mình ngay lập tức đấy ạ. Sữa dê tiểu đường VitaliWatt Diabetic cũng được rất nhiều chuyên gia, bác sĩ đầu ngành đánh giá cao như là Phó Giáo sư Tiến sĩ bác sĩ Nguyễn Thị Bay, nguyên trưởng bộ môn y học cổ truyền Đại học Y Dược Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, hay là bác sĩ chuyên khoa 2 Vũ Minh Đức, chuyên khoa nội tổng hợp Bệnh viện Thống nhất Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, rồi là rất nhiều báo đài uy tín cũng đã khẳng định về chất lượng và hiệu quả. Chưa kể là sản phẩm cũng được rất nhiều khách hàng sử dụng và có kết quả tốt. Đó cũng chính là lý do mà Linh cảm thấy rất là tự tin tưởng lựa chọn dòng sản phẩm này cho người thân, cho gia đình của mình sử dụng. Và ngày hôm nay thì thay mặt cho nhãn hàng VitaliWatt Diabetic, Linh xin được giới thiệu với mọi người là nhãn hàng có tung ra một chương trình ưu đãi cực kỳ lớn và duy nhất chỉ có trong livestream của Hoàng Linh mà thôi. Xin thông báo với các bác, các cô chú, anh chị, khi mình mua 3 lon sữa Diabetic sẽ được tặng thêm một hộp dầu cá bổ mắt như thế này gồm 60 viên ạ. Khi mình mua 5 lon sữa thì sẽ được tặng thêm một hộp giấy 300g như thế này và một hộp dầu cá bổ mắt. Và ở trong này thì mọi người sẽ thấy là có rất là nhiều những cái gói nhỏ như thế này mọi người nhá. Đây, những gói nhỏ như thế này thì thực sự là tiện lợi vô cùng khi mà mình đi làm, mình đi công tác, mình đi du lịch, mình đi chơi xa, đi đâu thì mình cũng chỉ cần là mang theo vài gói nhỏ để mình pha uống rất là tiện, không cần phải mang theo cả lon lớn. Nói chung là rất phù hợp với dân truyền hình hay phải đi công tác như Linh. Ngoài ra thì khi mà mình mua 8 lon, đây các bác các cô chú anh chị mua 8 lon thì sẽ được giảm trực tiếp 12% vào tổng giá trị đơn hàng và tặng thêm một máy đo đường huyết ạ. Khi mua một thùng 12 lon sẽ được giảm 18% vào tổng giá trị đơn hàng và tặng thêm một máy đo đường huyết hoặc là một máy đo huyết áp. Thế là mình được giảm tới 1.470.000 đồng rồi khi mình mua một thùng 12 lon VitaliWatt Diabetic chính hãng cả nhà nhá. Bình thường là các phần quà này như là máy đo đường huyết này, máy đo huyết áp rồi là viên dầu cá bán ở bên ngoài thị trường ấy thì cũng phải 600-700.000 rồi. Thế mà hôm nay mọi người mua sữa sẽ được tặng miễn phí thì đúng là siêu hời đúng không nào? Mọi người không mua là chỉ có tiếc thôi, không nhận quà là chỉ có tiếc thôi. Mình mua sữa Diabetic uống lại còn được tặng thêm máy đo, kiểm tra luôn lượng đường huyết để biết sản phẩm hiệu quả như thế nào. Phải nói là nhãn hàng cực kỳ chu đáo và tâm lý với người tiêu dùng luôn. Nhãn hàng luôn mong muốn có thể mang tới cho các bác, các cô chú, anh chị, những ai mà đang mắc tiểu đường trên toàn quốc được tiếp cận một dòng sản phẩm sữa dê tiểu đường Hà Lan chất lượng cao, mang lại hiệu quả tuyệt vời nhưng lại với một giá thành siêu hợp lý. Đây sẽ là cơ hội duy nhất, khó có lần thứ hai.
Uống cái sữa này á, một ngày 2 ly. Sáng 1 ly, chiều 1 ly. Chỉ sau một thời gian ngắn thôi, tôi đã tăng lên 3 kg rồi đó. Người có sức lực hơn, cơ thể khỏe khoắn, làm việc gì cũng thoải mái, còn có thời gian giúp đỡ gia đình nữa. Uống 1 ly sữa này vô là tràn đầy năng lượng, ăn ngon ngủ ngon, không còn kiêng khem như trước nữa.
Cái sữa dê tiểu đường này á, uống vô trời ơi, nó ngon ơi là ngon. Mà tôi thật sự là bất ngờ nha. Tôi không nghĩ là nó ngon đến như vậy luôn. Cứ một ngày là 2 ly. Tôi uống được 1 tuần đầu thì tôi cảm thấy cơ thể của tôi nó đỡ mệt rất là nhiều. Người có năng lượng hơn nè, có sức sống hơn. Sáng ngủ dậy là tôi muốn ra ngoài vận động, không còn muốn nằm một chỗ giống hồi trước nữa đâu. Rồi tôi thấy vậy là tôi tiếp tục uống thêm nửa tháng. Trời ơi, những cái chứng tiểu đêm của tôi á, là nó đã giảm hẳn luôn đó, không còn mà tay chân không có run rẩy như trước nữa. Trời ơi, tôi vui ơi là vui. Mà cái quan trọng nhất là tôi không còn bị đói nè, cũng không có còn mà bị là tụt huyết áp như hồi xưa đó. Tôi rất là phấn khởi luôn á.
Tôi mới dùng cái sản phẩm Diabetes này có 5 ngày thôi mà tôi thấy cái sức khỏe tôi nó rõ rệt luôn, nó khỏe vô cùng luôn đó. Thì tôi mới tiếp tục tôi sử dụng thêm một thời gian nữa, tôi lên hẳn 5 kg đó. Mà cái chỉ số đường huyết của tôi á, nó chỉ có 6,2, 6,8 thôi, nó không còn lên xuống như hồi xưa nữa. Nè, bây giờ tôi không thèm ăn ngọt nè, không thèm ăn gạo trắng nhiều nữa, mà tôi ăn uống cái gì cũng ngon miệng hết đó. Không còn tiểu đêm nữa nha. Rồi tối tôi ngủ á, sáng dậy á, ngủ rất là ngon, mà sáng dậy con người nó khỏe vô cùng luôn.
Vâng, thưa quý vị, thực hư về hiệu quả của sản phẩm này đã được làm rõ. Chúng tôi có thể đưa ra nhận định rằng đây là một sản phẩm đáng tin cậy, uy tín, hiệu quả an toàn cho người tiểu đường. Để mua đúng hàng chính hãng từ công ty, quý vị hãy gọi ngay đến số hotline mà chúng tôi ghim ở trên màn hình để được tư vấn chính xác và hưởng ưu đãi độc quyền của tin tức 24 giờ.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the first session of Ads Academy. My name is David, and I'm working as a product lead on privacy-centric measurement. We'll uncover in this session the foundation of privacy-centric measurement and see how enhanced conversion, content mode, and Google Analytics 4 can work together to unlock growth and help you achieve your marketing objectives. The digital world is experiencing a paradigm shift. Over the past few years, users have shared with us their willingness to have greater transparency and control over how their data was being collected and used, especially for ads customization. As a result of that, digital platforms and law have evolved to provide greater protection and choice for users. Today's evolving industry has led to 2 types of changes. On the one side, you have the regulatory change, which defines the framework within which data is being collected and used. That's also when we talk about regulations, that concept of consent is being introduced. You might have heard about GDPR, EU data protection law. On the other side, you have the technology change, which impacts our historical ability to collect data through cookies, which we're moving away from. So let's take, for instance, like the example of browsers such as Safari, Firefox, and soon as well, Chrome. Cookieless browsing modes will become the new standards in the industry. Because of those changes, user-level tracking and observable conversion data is declining. Digital platforms have all taken a different approach to ads privacy. We at Google think that we need to show the way within the industry, but with respect. We've been working over the last years with the industry, trying to develop a set of new privacy-centric measurement solutions that will support our advertisers at the same time get a clear understanding of what their return on investment is without compromising on our users' end privacy and trust. We want to set up new standards for the industry on privacy. We have built a suite of privacy-centric measurement solutions that work together and allow us to shift from third-party to first-party data, ranging from site-wide tagging to enhanced conversion, without forgetting about content mode and Google Analytics 4. Those products will become key in preserving your foundation on measurement and also allow you to safeguarding your performance. We've seen earlier how technology changes can affect your ability to observe data. And that's where enhanced conversion comes in. Enhanced conversion for web will allow you to increase conversion observability, whether you're optimizing towards lead forms or even online sales, by increasing the amount of available first-party data. In the same way, through that, you'll be able to have as well better conversion modeling. And finally, enhanced conversion for web will also allow to improve your campaign's performance. As we know, today, automated bidding strategies are all dependent on the amount of data that is observable and available within the systems. With greater modeling and greater observability, it will also help them perform at their best. We expect today the increase on conversion rates to be of 5% after implementation on search campaigns. And this amount is only expected to become higher as more and more browsers are moving towards cookieless browsing modes. Content mode, on the other hand, will help you navigate the regulatory side of things. Through conversion modeling, you will be able to recover loss of conversion due to user content choices. Operating in the EU or the UK, you're required to obtain consent from your users to store the data. This can either be done through a third-party content management platform or through an in-house solution. Either way, you'll want to implement content mode. Content mode is Google Ads measurement solution that allows your Google tags to communicate about a user's content status and also enables Google to model for conversions. Content mode comes with a few benefits, which are that it's respectful of content choices while allowing you to better measure. It will also help you solve for unknowns. As we know, conversion modeling will be there to fill the gaps where observability of data can't be recovered. It will also ultimately help you measure performance in a better way. Used with enhanced conversion for web, it will provide you with a 360-degree view of your performance. Now, how do enhanced conversion and content work together? When the user grants consent, enhanced conversion for web will be able to recover those conversions. This will also help improve and increase the size of the observable data pool. Content mode, in the meantime, will work behind the scenes to train its models based on this observable data. But when the user doesn't provide consent, then measurement of conversions will have to be done as an aggregate level. This could also mean that we might lose insights over a customer journey. And this is where content mode can help solve for this issue by modeling conversions based on the observable data it has trained its model on earlier. This will help filling any gaps for measurement and as well campaign performance. Now, what enhanced conversion and content mode have in common is that they both leverage conversion modeling. Today, you could have your measurement foundations built on very robust observable data, including implementing enhanced conversion. But this might prove not to be enough, as we could still have some gaps due to user content choices, increased browser regulations, or even movement across devices. It is therefore important that we leverage machine learning to help us fill those gaps in terms of measurement. More observable data will also mean better modeling for content mode. Now, let's talk about Google Analytics 4. Google Analytics 4 will become your new platform when it comes to marketing decisions involving first-party data. Not only it will use conversion modeling to identify and report on customer insights, but it will also help you improve your automated bidding strategies and inform your wider marketing strategy. Google Analytics 4 is a new measurement solutions that is designed to help you keep up with the changes within the ecosystem. It comes with a new set of features and sets you up for a future without cookies. This includes helping you navigate and address measurement gaps, for instance, through conversion modeling when cookies or other identifiers are not available. Secondly, it will also provide you with a clear and complete view of your customer journey as we move to an event-based measurement model. This will help you get a clear view of what your customer life cycle is across web and app. And finally, predictive metrics will also be a game changer for you when it comes to building a strong and robust first-party audience strategy. If you're using Universal Analytics, keep in mind that Universal Analytics will be deprecated, sunsetting on July 1st, 2023. So we urge you to take the necessary steps to migrate right now, not to lose any capabilities. Now, enabling privacy-centric measurement solutions is more of a journey than a one-shot approach. We want you to use these slides, this sequence, to help you on your journey. Something to note here is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to implementing those solutions. It will depend ultimately on where you are on your journey and what your needs are as well. But we want you to know that you should use this sequence to advance towards this objective. All three products from the privacy-centric measurement suite all work together and are all complementary to each other. Now, let's talk about performance. Once you have your privacy-centric measurement solutions in place, don't forget to enable automation as well to maximize performance. Smart bidding leverages machine learning to optimize towards conversion or conversion value, trying ways to get you towards the users are the most likely to convert. Today, there are 80% of Google advertisers that use smart bidding for cost efficiency and saving themselves time. Automation can only work as good as you feed it with great data, meaning that if you combine the first-party data approach with smart bidding, you also make sure to provide it with the most accurate and relevant data for it to use. Smart bidding will both use observable and model data gathered from enhanced conversion and content mode to best predict outcomes and optimize towards performance. Well, this is it. I hope that you found this session useful, and I'm handing it over now to Pippa to take you through the different steps of the Google Analytics migration. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the second segment of Ads Academy. I'm Pippa, a regional product lead here at Google with a focus in privacy and measurement. I've been at Google for over 4 years now, working across a few teams in Sydney, Auckland, and most recently here in Dublin. My day-to-day includes going between our incredible partner teams here at Google and our engineers to make sure that we're bringing the right products to the market to solve for the right challenges and opportunities within the broader industry. But that also means that I'm not quite as close to the people side as I used to be, so I'm thrilled to be here today to be running this training for you on one of my favorite products, Google Analytics 4. We'll be diving into some step-by-step instructions as well as some key watch-outs on setting up and linking Google Analytics 4 properties. But firstly, why? Universal Analytics will begin its deprecation on July 1st, 2023. After a period, you will no longer be able to see reports or access Universal Analytics data. And to avoid loss of data and gaps within your reporting, it's important to migrate to Google Analytics 4 as soon as possible. Let's take a look on how we can do that. We can boil it down into 3 key steps. Firstly, and what I'll be going into today, is setting up and linking Google Analytics 4 properties. Here, you can use the GA4 Setup Assistant to create a new Google Analytics 4 property that collects data in parallel with your existing Universal Analytics property. Here, we need to be sure to re-tag if we're not using the latest site-wide tagging, the Google tag, and enable data collection during this setup phase. Also in this step, we need to link through the new Google Analytics 4 property to Google Ads as well. In step 2, over time, we can create, import, and activate Google Analytics 4 audiences and conversions. And then eventually, step 3 is to move over business critical reporting from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4. Diving into that a little deeper and zooming into that first step of creating and linking a Google Analytics 4 property. Before we actually start, it's important that we start by reviewing your ads account as well as your reporting structure and how you can get the most out of the new Google Analytics 4 for your business by using its features and controls that it provides. Here we can analyze current ads campaigns and current Universal Analytics conversions and audiences that you're using in your advertising strategy. You can ask yourself questions like, do I need all of my current conversions and audiences? Are they adding value to my business? Do I have to migrate all of them? Or is there a potential here to redefine, what success looks like in terms of conversions and audiences that are adding the most value to you and your business. Here, we can use this as a bit of an opportunity to polish your advertising strategy, if you will. Now, getting started. You can find the Setup Assistant within the admin console of an analytics account. You can think of the Setup Assistant as a checklist to work through. Note that some items are optional and their relevance depends on how you're currently using analytics. The Google Analytics 4 Setup Assistant can help to guide you through this process. Here on the screen, I've included a screenshot to help demonstrate exactly what this looks like in action. It's going to provide you with a step-by-step guide, which will help to walk you through how to configure the necessary steps to make your Google Analytics 4 property ready for use. We can start by making sure that our Google Analytics 4 property is going to be linked through to the Universal Analytics property in its original. Now, to create a new property under I need to create a new Google Analytics 4 property within the Setup Assistant, click Get Started. Secondly, if your site uses the jtag.js tag, you'll have the option to enable data collection using your existing tags. We recommend using this feature if you want to benefit from some of the new features within Google Analytics 4, for example, predictive audiences. And then lastly, importantly, click Create Property. The Setup Assistant identifies a number of configuration settings that you can use to implement in your Google Analytics 4 property. We recommend that you, firstly, link all required integrations, for example, Google Ads, and I'll show you how to do that in the next step. Secondly, activate Google Signals. Next is setting up audiences and migrating your goals and conversions, and we'll be diving into that in a little deeper in future sessions. Then, and this is a more advanced step and you don't have to do this, is setting up user IDs as well as measurement protocols. If you have a Universal Analytics property connected to your Google Analytics 4 property, the settings identified here help to create continuity in configuration between the two properties that you have. Diving a little more into my first point here, the Google Ads link import tool can be used to copy over the links between Google Ads and Universal Analytics to your new Google Analytics 4 property. You can access the Google Ads linking tool via Admin, Setup Assistant, Linking, and Get Started. After linking a Google Analytics 4 property to your Google Ads, conversions can be exported for usage within Google Ads once you've created them. Audiences are actually immediately available within Google Ads after creation without having to be exported separately. Again, I've included a screenshot of exactly what that looks like here on screen. Now, I know that I've whittled through quite a lot of content this morning, so thank you for both your time and attention as we've gone through a deep dive on how to set up and link a Google Analytics 4 property successfully. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Abdur Rahman, a measurement growth consultant at Google. I'm super excited to talk to you about audiences in GA4 and bring to you some new features which you can use for your Google ad campaigns. So make sure you check out this session coming soon. Our research at Google shows consumer journeys are becoming increasingly complex and engaging the target customer is becoming trickier than ever. As digital touchpoints, channels, and choices continue to expand, consumer journeys have become ever messier, resembling a chaotic scavenger hunt. Nowadays, users can hop between different stages of the funnel in a non-linear fashion. This calls for a radical change in the audience strategy, a change from siloed approach per channel and platform to cohorts that engage in an ongoing activity cycle. And this is where GA4 comes to your rescue. GA4 can help you build a robust audience strategy. So, number one, you can collect and measure. The event-based data model merges site and app data, helping you to make better data-driven decisions with a deeper understanding of user behavior. You can also integrate your data from options like data import or measurement protocol to provide you with a holistic customer view. Number three, you can analyze for insights. Google Analytics 4 has machine learning embedded at its core, providing analysts with powerful insights and access to data. You can leverage insights and intelligence to do more, such as quickly gleaning valuable insights that enable better marketing decisions. And lastly, you can activate on the insights. It enables you to develop a comprehensive plan for activating your insights and audiences through our platform integrations. Now you must be wondering, how do I capitalize on these new capabilities of GA4 for Google ad campaigns? So let's jump into the implementation part. We'll go over 3 simple steps. Number 1, link your Google Ads account to GA4. Second one, create audiences. And finally, add these audiences to the ad campaigns. If you have your Google Ads and GA4 account open, that's great. You can follow the steps. If not, that's also fine. You can come back to this video later and play it at your own pace. First and foremost, you should link the Google Ads account to GA4. So for this, go to the admin panel in your GA4 account, then go to the product links and click Google Ads links. Press the link option here. Finally, choose your ad account and make sure to enable personalized advertising so that your audiences are available in Google Ads library and can be used in the ad campaigns. The next step is to create audiences so you can unleash the power of GA4 targeting. You have 3 options to choose from. So you can either create an audience from scratch, or you can use system templates, or create a predictive audience, a smart new feature I'm super excited to introduce you to today. Let's see how we can set each of these up. First up, creating a custom audience. Step number 1, click on Create a Custom Audience. Then you can name and describe your audience. Step number 3 is to include or exclude users from numerous events and attributes options. For example, you can choose a page view event where users add to cart. You then need to set a duration and trigger for this audience. Final step, click Save. There's also a second option to choose from GA4 suggested audiences from templates that are based on your industry. For instance, you might want to push a particular product or service to the suggested audience of non-purchasers, your potential customers who have not made a purchase yet. You can also choose from a variety of demographic options or even acquisition channels. For example, you might want to tailor your content depending on which social media platform your user is coming from. And now on to the new GA4 feature, which is bound to excite you, predictive audiences. This will translate your job of building a complex audience using costly machine learning models to a mere click. You have a wide variety of predictive audiences to choose from, making you a proactive marketing strategist. There are options such as likely 7-day purchasers or likely 7-day churning users. And for example, you might want to customize an offer for 7-day likely churning purchasers for a stable customer retention rate. Predictive audiences will surely help you uncover new possibilities and become even more creative. Now let's move on to the final step where you can use these powerful audiences in your Google ad campaigns. So step number 1, click on Tools on the top right in the Google Ads interface. Step number 2, open the Audience Manager from Shared Library Options. You can now choose the segments you want to target in this dropdown that you can see in the screenshot. Final step, add these to the campaign or ad groups from the Add To option in the blue menu bar. In order to get more info on how to best use these audiences in ad campaigns or any related questions, please check out our Google Ads Help Center. And that's a wrap. In this session, we learned the evolving customer journeys, which are becoming more complex, how GA4 can help you build a robust audience strategy, and the implementation. So how to link your Google Ads account, how to create audiences and utilize these new features, and finally, how to add these audiences to the ad campaigns. You are now ready to execute your audience strategy and have the competitive advantage to grow your business in the modern era of complex customer journeys. I wish you best of luck in leveraging the new capabilities of GA4. If you need any more information, make sure to check out our Google Analytics Help Center. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this session on conversion migration. I am Nitish. I'm a product lead here at Google. In this section, I will help you understand how you can complete conversion migration steps in GA4 migration journey. We know that businesses which continue to improve their digital measurement tend to perform better over time. In fact, BCG found that there is an incremental 16 percentage point of return for businesses who invest in measurement maturity. And Bain & Company found that businesses who do so are 4 times more likely to achieve their goals. GA4 has many new features inbuilt which can greatly help you improve your measurement. GA4 can help you better understand ROI of your media investments. GA4 has improved durability and modeling capabilities which can help you measure full impact in privacy-first environment with less availabilities of cookies. GA4 also has new advanced features such as data-driven attributions and engaged view conversions, which will help you understand full customer journey. However, to be able to use these wonderful features for your campaign activations, you will have to import GA4 conversion data in Google Ads and use it with Smart Bidding. In this section, we will see how you can achieve this. GA4 conversion migration is a 4-step process. First step is to set up conversions in GA4. Second step is to import them as conversions in Google Ads. Then the third step is to monitor data discrepancy for 15 days. And then the final 4th step is to complete migration with conversion swaps. Over the next few slides, I will quickly show you how you can create GA4 conversions and import them to Google Ads. I would encourage you to rewatch this video to do step-by-step implementations later at your own pace. The first step is to create conversions in GA4, and there are 2 ways to do it. One way is to use goal migration tool to replicate UA goals as conversions in GA4, and then the other way is to create conversions manually. If you currently use UA goals, then goal migration tool can help you replicate UA conversion goals as events in GA4 property. With the goal migration tool, you can quickly recreate eligible goals from your connected Universal Analytics property as conversion events in GA4 property. For each eligible UA goal you select, the goal migration tool automatically creates a new event rule and marks the created event as conversion. Now let's see how to set up conversions manually. There are 2 ways to do this. First way is to mark an existing event as conversion. This can be done by going to Google Analytics, then to configure an events on left, and in existing events table, selecting toggle under mark as conversions. Second way to manually create GA4 conversion is to mark a new event as conversions. In order to do this, go to Google Analytics, admin, property, conversions on the left, and then click on new conversion event as shown on this slide. Now that we have created conversions in GA4, next step is to import analytics conversion into Google Ads. In order to do this, you should go to Google Ads interface and click on Tools and Setting and then select Conversions. In the next view, then click on Summary and select New Conversion Action. In the view which will open up, click on Import GA4 Properties and select Web Options as shown on the slide. Click to continue. In the next view, you will be able to see all GA4 conversions which are linked to this account. Please select the ones which you wish to import to Google Ads. Now, you will be able to see the chosen conversions are imported to Google Ads as secondary. The next, third step is to monitor conversion numbers of UA and GA4 conversions for 15 days. This is to compare conversion count of similar UA and GA4 conversions. This is important because any change to conversion setting will have an effect on smart bidding strategies. So it is important to understand potential discrepancies. While it is common to see small discrepancy in conversion and conversion value, that is, seeing data for those metrics in analytics account that differ from your conversion metrics in the Google Ads account, it is not necessarily a sign that your measurement implementation is wrong. Discrepancy could be result of different measurement methods. We suggest following recommendations in the Help Center if you see large discrepancy before you start bidding on GA4 conversions. At least 15 days after importing your new GA4 conversions, when enough data has been gathered and you have ensured that there are no major discrepancies, you are finally ready to switch from bidding on UA conversions to bidding on GA4 conversions. So let's do it. However, try to avoid this process during major peaks. Go back to Tools and Setting and click on Conversions. Now, you can change the status of your secondary GA4 conversions from secondary to primary by clicking on each of them. After clicking on Conversion Action, in the next view, click on Edit Settings. Now, change the conversion action from secondary to primary. It is important that you similarly change UA conversions from primary to secondary to avoid duplication of data. Don't forget to save your changes. That's it for today. Through the steps we just saw, you will be able to successfully migrate GA4 conversions and use them in your campaigns. To learn more about how GA4 and Google Ads work together to help you achieve your goals, visit Google's Ads Help Center. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Adi and I'm a regional product lead for Google Analytics 4. And I'll be taking you through the fourth and final session of this Ads Academy module on privacy-focused measurement. In the previous sections, we've gone over the essentials of privacy-focused measurement, how to set up and link GA4 properties, and how to configure core ad features in GA4. In this session, we'll now take a closer look at how you can start using GA4 as your primary analytics platform. And in particular, how you can start applying conversion actions and audiences set up in GA4 to your Google Ads campaigns, and how you can unlock value from net new audiences and event types in GA4. Now, a quick heads up, this session will cover quite a lot of detailed information. However, you can of course go back and re-watch the session on demand. So let's start with a quick recap. As mentioned in previous sections, all Universal Analytics properties will stop processing new hits on July 1st, 2023 for standard properties and October 1st, 2023 for 360 properties. So what this means is that not only will we stop processing reporting data in Universal Analytics properties after these deadlines, but conversions and audiences set up in Universal Analytics will also stop populating, which in turn has consequences from a smart bidding optimization and campaign targeting perspective as well. So therefore it becomes imperative for us to migrate Universal Analytics goals to Google Analytics 4 as quickly and as early as possible. Now, when it comes to the options for doing so, some of you might have access to the external goals migration tool, which, as you can see over here, will allow you to very quickly and easily replicate and recreate the goals that you had set up in Universal Analytics with new corresponding conversion actions in GA4. However, in addition to making use of the goals migration tool, it's also possible to set up conversion actions in GA4 manually, which we can essentially do by configuring an event and then marking that particular event as a conversion. So if you're looking to set up conversion actions in GA4 manually, there are a couple of things to keep in mind while doing so. Firstly, in Universal Analytics, we would typically set up a goal by specifying certain conditions that would have to be met, whereas conversion reporting in GA4 is event-based. So essentially, we would need to set up an event in GA4 and then select and specify that particular event as a conversion. So for instance, if you were looking to set up a conversion action for whenever a user reaches a particular page, in Universal Analytics, we would have to set up a destination goal in order to track that. In GA4, we would have to set up a page view event for when someone lands on that page, and then set that page view event as a conversion or as an event that should be counted as a conversion. Now, once that is done, we can of course export our conversion events set up in GA4 to Google Ads in much the same way as we would export goals set up in Universal Analytics to Google Ads. So again, the key takeaway over here is to ensure that we have the correct events configured in GA4, after which we can specify and select desired events as conversion actions that can then be exported over to Google Ads. Now, once new conversion actions have been set up in Google Analytics 4, we would recommend validating these new conversion actions against the older conversion actions created in Universal Analytics. And this is essentially to make sure that the new conversion actions set up in GA4 have been configured correctly and are tracking the same corresponding events as goals in Universal Analytics were tracking. So there are a few steps we'd recommend taking to validate GA4 conversions against UA goals. The first step is to compare conversion volumes and conversion values between the old goals set up using Universal Analytics and the new goals set up using GA4. Now, as we'll see, some minor discrepancies are expected between UA goals and GA4 conversions, but overall we would not recommend proceeding with applying GA4 conversions to smart bidding if there are major discrepancies in conversion volumes and conversion values. Secondly, as conversions in GA4 are event-based, we'd recommend ensuring that the corresponding events for conversion actions are being triggered correctly. And this is something we can verify in the reports engagement event section in GA4, which will essentially help us understand if our desired events are triggering as intended. Now, once this is done, we'd also recommend ensuring that the match types and inclusion and exclusion criteria for the old UA conversion actions and new GA4 goals are the same, as both conversion actions should essentially be tracking the same user action, the same event, or essentially the same thing on an app or a website overall. And then finally, while some small discrepancies are expected for the number of conversions per session, we would nonetheless recommend checking site-wide tagging and basic GA4 configuration to ensure that there's nothing fundamentally wrong with how GA4 conversion actions have been set up. So these are some of the steps that we'd recommend following as a hygiene check to validate all new GA4 conversion actions against the older conversion actions set up using Universal Analytics. Now, we briefly mentioned that some minor discrepancies might be expected in conversion volumes and conversion values between the old conversion actions or goals set up in Universal Analytics and the new conversion actions set up in GA4. Let's take a closer look at some of the root causes behind some of these potential differences and discrepancies. So firstly, when it comes to conversion configuration, as we briefly alluded to, in Universal Analytics, you would define a goal to indicate that a particular user action is to be considered as a conversion, whereas in GA4, you would first set up an event and then mark that particular event as a conversion event. Secondly, it's also important to keep in mind that Universal Analytics counts only one conversion per session per goal, whereas GA4 counts each and every instance of a conversion event being fired, even if that is within the exact same session. So essentially, within the same session, it's possible to see multiple conversions for GA4 conversion events, but we would expect to see only one conversion per goal in Universal Analytics. Now, in addition to this, it's important to keep in mind that conversion modeling is available in GA4, but is not supported in Universal Analytics. So essentially, this means that GA4 will be able to backfill and track conversions even when cookies are not observable. And if you have a lot of investment in YouTube campaigns, it's important to keep in mind that GA4 is able to report engaged view conversions from YouTube campaigns, whereas Universal Analytics is not able to report engaged view conversions stemming from YouTube campaigns. And then finally, keep in mind that Universal Analytics uses last non-direct attribution as the default attribution model across all its reports, whereas GA4 uses data-driven attribution by default across all reports. So essentially, the default attribution model between UA and GA4 is different. And this is one of the reasons why we may expect to see some level of differences and discrepancies in conversion volumes and conversion values. So again, as a rough benchmark, a 20% would be an acceptable threshold or an acceptable range for discrepancies between conversion values and conversion volumes. But if there are discrepancies larger than this, we would recommend getting the setup of your GA4 conversion events checked. Now, once these conversion events have been set up and once they've been validated and imported into Google Ads, the next step, of course, is to start bidding on GA4 conversion events in Google Ads. So there are a couple of best practices to follow at this stage as well. The first best practice is to ensure the data-driven attribution, or DDA, is set up as the default attribution model for any GA4 conversion events that are imported into Google Ads. The second important best practice is to ensure that older Universal Analytics conversion actions are removed from bidding as soon as new GA4 conversion actions have been added to bidding. So essentially, we would want to avoid bidding on duplicate conversion actions. So we would not want to bid on the exact same conversion action set up in UA and GA4 at the exact same time. This will interfere with the smart bidding algorithms optimization. So as soon as you've added a GA4 conversion action to smart bidding, make sure that the older UA conversion action is removed from smart bidding. And as a best practice, we would recommend adding GA4 conversion actions as secondary in Google Ads for between 2 to 4 weeks. in order for the system to have enough time to accrue and accumulate conversion data prior to these conversion actions being included in smart bidding. Now, in addition to the best practices for smart bidding, there are also best practices we would recommend following as you complete the audience migration and as you replace the older audiences set up in Universal Analytics with the newer audiences set up in GA4. Now, unlike for conversion actions, it is absolutely fine to apply GA4 audiences along with and at the same time as Universal Analytics audiences, as the Google Ads system will be able to deduplicate users who are both in the new GA4 audiences as well as in the old UA audiences. So the takeaway here is that there is no need for you to go and manually remove the older audiences set up using UA. And then as an additional best practice, it's often a good idea to combine GA4 audiences with customer match lists, as this essentially gives the Google Ads system additional first-party data signals to work with and optimize towards. So these are some of the best practices we'd recommend following as you complete the conversion and audience steps of the larger GA4 migration. Let's now take a closer look at some of the net new value adds that you can take advantage of once you have finished fully migrating from UA to GA4. Now, one of the most significant net new value adds that GA4 is able to offer is the ability to track and report engaged view conversions from YouTube ads. So, as some of you might be aware, an engaged view conversion, or EVC for short, occurs whenever a user watches a YouTube ad for at least 10 seconds, and then, without clicking on that ad, arrives on a website and performs a conversion action within a 3-day window by default. Now, EVCs typically tend to make up a significant chunk of conversions stemming from YouTube ads, and previously in Universal Analytics, we had no way of tracking or reporting on EVCs from YouTube ads. The good news is that this is now supported in GA4. So as you can see, you can apply a specific segment to analyze the number of EVCs stemming from your YouTube campaigns. And this ultimately makes a GA4 a game changer and a much more viable measurement solution for any advertiser who wants to use analytics as a source of truth, but who is also a heavy investor in YouTube campaigns. Now, in addition to EVC reporting, GA4 also offers enhancements to attribution reports in order to help you fully showcase and understand the value of your digital marketing campaigns. Now, attribution reports are, of course, not net new to GA4 per se. They were available and supported in Universal Analytics, but there are a few enhancements to attribution reports that make them even richer and a more holistic source of truth in GA4. So firstly, attribution reports in GA4 track touchpoints in both app and web environments, which allows for more comprehensive attribution measurement and reporting. Secondly, conversion modeling capabilities also feed into attribution reports in GA4, which means that we can accurately assign credit to touchpoints even when cookies are not observable. And then finally, additional net new features like EVC reporting also feed into the attribution reports that GA4 is able to offer. And then the cherry on top is the fact that we're actually able to specify and select attribution models at the overall property level in GA4 and not just specifically within the attribution reports, as was the case in Universal Analytics. So all in all, the additions to attribution reports really go a long way towards helping you make use of GA4 to showcase the full value of your digital marketing campaigns. Now, in addition to these net new reporting features, GA4 also offers net new features when it comes to ads activation and specifically ads targeting. The most exciting of these is the launch of predictive audiences in GA4. As the name suggests, predictive audiences allow you to target users who, for example, are likely to make a purchase within the next 7 days, are likely to churn within the next 7 days, or are likely to spend the most within the next 28 days. So predictive audiences really represent the evolution of machine learning capabilities in GA4. And the main value proposition is that they really save you as advertisers a lot of time and investment when it comes to building business intelligence and data science capabilities. So ordinarily, in order to build these audiences, you would have to have a significant data science investment, perhaps a dedicated data science team. But this is essentially now done for you in minutes in GA4, thanks to the advances in machine learning that GA4 is able to offer. So to take a look at some of the specific predictive audiences that GA4 offers, firstly, we have the ability to target users who are likely to make purchases within the next 7 days, including users who are likely to be first-time purchasers within the next 7 days. So this, of course, lends itself quite well towards objectives like driving leads, driving sales, and more specifically, new customer acquisition. In addition to that, we're able to target users who are likely to churn within the next 7 days, including purchasers who are likely to churn within the next 7 days. And this is particularly useful if your objective is more centered around driving customer retention, customer loyalty, or increasing the lifetime value of your existing customers. And then finally, we're also able to target users who are likely to spend the most over the next 28 days, which of course lends itself quite well towards objectives like driving sales, driving leads, increasing lifetime value, and perhaps profit maximization as well. So these are the default predictive audiences that GA4 is able to offer. The really exciting news is we can actually layer custom events and custom conditions on top of some of these default predictive audiences. So for example, if you're a lead gen customer, it's possible to layer on custom conditions to, for instance, target likely 7-day purchasers who are also marketing or sales qualified leads. So all in all, predictive audiences really go a long way towards saving you time and investment when it comes to targeting users who are likely to meet certain conditions within the next 7 days or the next 28 days or whatever time period might be relevant to your marketing objectives. Now, the final thing we'll touch upon in terms of net new value adds is the ability to combine some of these predictive audiences with predictive conversion events that feed into smart bidding. So essentially, GA4 gives us the ability to set up predictive conversion events such as purchase likelihood, churn likelihood, and the likelihood to be a top spender. And we're not only able to measure these predictive conversion events, but more importantly, we can actually feed them in to smart bidding directly. So essentially, in addition to, let's say, targeting users who are likely to make purchases within the next 7 days, the smart bidding algorithm will be able to target its bids and its optimization towards users who are likely to make purchases within the next 7 days as well. So we really have the ability to combine or layer on the new predictive audiences with new predictive bidding capabilities in GA4 as well. So with that, we have come to the end of the fourth and final module on this Ads Academy series on privacy-focused measurement. To recap, we have covered some of the best practices when it comes to replacing the old conversion actions and audiences that were set up in Universal Analytics with new conversion actions and audiences set up in GA4. And just as importantly, how we can tap into the net new value adds that GA4 offers to meet our marketing objectives. We hope you found this session useful, and we look forward to seeing you at another one of our Ads Academy series. Thank you and all the very best. Essentially, within the same session, it's possible to see multiple conversions for GA4 conversion events, but we would expect to see only one conversion per goal in Universal Analytics. Now, in addition to this, it's important to keep in mind that conversion modeling is available in GA4, but is not supported in Universal Analytics. So essentially, this means that GA4 will be able to backfill and track conversions even when cookies are not observable. And if you have a lot of investment in YouTube campaigns, it's important to keep in mind that GA4 is able to report engaged view conversions from YouTube campaigns, whereas Universal Analytics is not able to report engaged view conversions stemming from YouTube campaigns. And then finally, keep in mind that Universal Analytics uses last non-direct attribution as the default attribution model across all its reports, whereas GA4 uses data-driven attribution by default across all reports. So essentially, the default attribution model between UA and GA4 is different. And this is one of the reasons why we may expect to see some level of differences and discrepancies in conversion volumes and conversion values. So again, as a rough benchmark, a 20% would be an acceptable threshold or an acceptable range for discrepancies between conversion values and conversion volumes. But if there are discrepancies larger than this, we would recommend getting the setup of your GA4 conversion events checked. Now, once these conversion events have been set up and once they've been validated and imported into Google Ads, the next step, of course, is to start bidding on GA4 conversion events in Google Ads. So there are a couple of best practices to follow at this stage as well. The first best practice is to ensure the data-driven attribution, or DDA, is set up as the default attribution model for any GA4 conversion events that are imported into Google Ads. The second important best practice is to ensure that older Universal Analytics conversion actions are removed from bidding as soon as new GA4 conversion actions have been added to bidding. So essentially, we would want to avoid bidding on duplicate conversion actions. So we would not want to bid on the exact same conversion action set up in UA and GA4 at the exact same time. This will interfere with the smart bidding algorithms optimization. So as soon as you've added a GA4 conversion action to smart bidding, make sure that the older UA conversion action is removed from smart bidding. Another best practice, we would recommend adding GA4 conversion actions as secondary in Google Ads for between 2 to 4 weeks in order for the system to have enough time to accrue and accumulate conversion data prior to these conversion actions being included in smart bidding. Now, in addition to the best practices for smart bidding, there are also best practices we would recommend following as you complete the audience migration and as you replace the older audiences set up in Universal Analytics with the newer audiences set up in GA4. Now, unlike for conversion actions, it is absolutely fine to apply GA4 audiences along with and at the same time as Universal Analytics audiences, as the Google Ads system will be able to deduplicate users who are both in the new GA4 audiences as well as in the old UA audiences. So the takeaway here is that there is no need for you to go and manually remove the older audiences set up using UA. And then as an additional best practice, it's often a good idea to combine GA4 audiences with customer match lists, as this essentially gives the Google Ads system additional first-party data signals to work with and optimize towards. So these are some of the best practices we'd recommend following as you complete the conversion and audience steps of the larger GA4 migration. Let's now take a closer look at some of the net new value adds that you can take advantage of once you have finished fully migrating from UA to GA4. Now, one of the most significant net new value adds that GA4 is able to offer is the ability to track and report engaged view conversions from YouTube ads. So, as some of you might be aware, an engaged view conversion, or EVC for short, occurs whenever a user watches a YouTube ad for at least 10 seconds, and then, without clicking on that ad, arrives on a website and performs a conversion action within a 3-day window by default. Now, EVCs typically tend to make up a significant chunk of conversions stemming from YouTube ads, and previously in Universal Analytics, we had no way of tracking or reporting on EVCs from YouTube ads. The good news is that this is now supported in GA4. So as you can see, you can apply a specific segment to analyze the number of EVCs stemming from your YouTube campaigns. And this ultimately makes a GA4 a game changer and a much more viable measurement solution for any advertiser who wants to use analytics as a source of truth, but who is also a heavy investor in YouTube campaigns. Now, in addition to EVC reporting, GA4 also offers enhancements to attribution reports in order to help you fully showcase and understand the value of your digital marketing campaigns. Now, attribution reports are, of course, not net new to GA4 per se. They were available and supported in Universal Analytics, but there are a few enhancements to attribution reports that make them even richer and a more holistic source of truth in GA4. So firstly, attribution reports in GA4 track touchpoints in both app and web environments, which allows for more comprehensive attribution measurement and reporting. Secondly, conversion modeling capabilities also feed into attribution reports in GA4, which means that we can accurately assign credit to touchpoints even when cookies are not observable. And then finally, additional net new features like EVC reporting also feed into the attribution reports that GA4 is able to offer. And then the cherry on top is the fact that we're actually able to specify and select attribution models at the overall property level in GA4 and not just specifically within the attribution reports, as was the case in Universal Analytics. So all in all, the additions